The fire has risen. So without further ado, it's review time.
Let the games begin.
The Dark Knight Rises. After 4 years of waiting, it's finally here, and now it's time for me to review it. The Dark Knight Rises once again is directed by Christopher Nolan and once again stars Christian Bale as Batman and Bruce Wayne, Michael Caine as Alfred, Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox, and Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. Basically, the plot is this movie takes place 8 years after the events of The Dark Knight, where Batman has taken the blame for Harvey Dent's death. And ever since then, Batman has gone into hiding and Bruce Wayne has pretty much locked himself in Wayne Manor, at least until Bane comes along, hoping to wreak havoc in Gotham. We also have some new recruits. First and foremost, Tom Hardy as Bane. And don't worry, he's not that green Hulk-like brain-dead thing that we saw in Batman and Robin, no. This one is a lot different. He's smarter, he's more efficient, he's more calculating, and he doesn't just go, bomb, bomb. Let's see that again in slow-mo. Trust me, Bane never looked as stupid as I did back there. He does not do that. Plus, every time he's on screen, a chill went down my spine. It's like, my God, this guy is scary. And by scary, I mean like intimidating. I mean, if that guy walked up to me, I'm like, take whatever you want, okay? Just don't break my face with your face. In a behind-the-scenes featurette interviewing Tom Hardy, he was quoting Dark Knight where he said, some people wanting to watch the world burn. He thinks that Bane is ready to pull the pin on the grenade. Then we have Marion Cotillard from Inception as Miranda Tate, a new board executive at Wayne Enterprises who has a pretty prominent role in the film, in more ways than one. Then we have Joseph Gordon-Levitt as John Blake, an enthusiastic young rookie cop who really wants to make a difference. And then we have Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman.
Right.
There's also a really funny scene where, by the way, this isn't really spoilers. It's just a scene in the movie that it's not really key. Batman and Catwoman are on a rooftop, and Batman turns his back to her for a moment, and then he turns back and says, Miss Kyle, and then she disappears. And he says, so that's how that feels. I could not help but laugh at that. And Anne Hathaway's performance as Catwoman is great. And all the other performers are great too. Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman. I mean, they have never turned in a bad performance. So there's nothing really to say about them, but of course they've done great. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character was really good. Like, he actually plays a very essential part to the story, and I loved that. Of course, the score by Hans Zimmer is great. I mean, they were already great for the first 2 times around, and it's still great. I still love to hear the Hans Zimmer Batman theme. Plus, like Batman Begins and Dark Knight, the scope of this movie is just phenomenal. It takes us to places we normally wouldn't go with a typical Batman movie that we've seen in the 90s, and that's definitely thanks to Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan is pretty much the savior of Batman. It's like Batman is the savior of Gotham, Chris Nolan is the savior of Batman. It's really hard to see him go after this, because it makes you think. After Dark Knight Rises, what's the next Batman movie going to be like? I see the Dark Knight trilogy as kind of like the original Star Wars trilogy of my generation, because I think it's my generation that pretty much grew up on these Batman movies, and I'm really thankful for that. In fact, James Cameron actually said to Michael Bay, that his Transformers movies are the Star Wars of this generation. To that I say, very humbly, boss! Is it better than The Dark Knight and better than The Avengers? Well, I want to say no. They are all great equally. But even still, with great writing, great directing, brilliant acting, especially from Bale as Batman, a great score, breathtaking action sequences, a great scope of the entire film. This movie is without a doubt more than just geek tested and nerd approved, and should not just be universally loved by all. But this film is without a doubt a paragon of true cinema. In other words, it truly was awesome. This movie is probably the best ending to a franchise that I've seen since Toy Story 3. It really is. This is probably the best third addition to a franchise since Toy Story 3. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this movie and the entire Batman Dark Knight trilogy. And if you like what you've seen here, then feel free to press the like button, add this video to your favorites, and maybe even subscribe if you want. So until next time, this is Marco Sakino saying, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.